They say, what they say, 10% of any group or club actually does the work, something like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we have a couple of people that are kind of notorious for saying they're going to be at something and then not actually being there. So some I expect in that sense.
You can do, I think people can do maybe two groups max. Okay, if you do more than 2 groups, I mean like groups, organizations that you join.
So Barney, did you find that graphic?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, good. So now you want to use the bottom one. It says custom overlay, upload the overlay. You'll upload it and then turn it off, turn it on, and then you'll be okay.
All right.
You should be good to go.
I gotta download it. Download.
So while other people are doing their thing, I'm just introduce. Sorry we're late. Going on. Literally forgot to press the button. This is C4 Comic Art Critique.
I forget what the acronym is. It's like
who knows?
Cartoonist Creators Critique Collective.
Yeah.
Which is why C4 works just as well, if not better.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I pulled down the wrong graphic here. Hold on.
And also, it's explosive. What?
Oh, I failed. Yeah. So welcome to C4, and
All right.
I guess I'm your host, Greg Giordano. I am also a member of Vermont Comic Creators, which this is the hangout where we critique our stuff with each other. And we tonight happens to be Jesse Durona. You can read his comics at jessedurona.com. And also, if you look in the show notes down below, there's other links for everybody who's supposed to be on this show tonight, including Mr. Durona. The next person on our list is, look in the camera, Barney. There you go. This is Barney Smith. You can read his. You can find out about all his comics on storycomic.com, and 2 of his graphic novels are now self-published, and you can buy. Well, just like Jesse's stuff, you can buy on his site. You can also buy Barney's stuff on storycomic.com.
Yeah. It's also on Amazon.
That's right.
Neat.
And I am Greg Giordano, and you can find me at flameape.org. You can also find me on Facebook at Flameape, The Art of Gregory Giordano, and my comic with co-creator Bill Woodcock out in California is the horror western Holiday Mountain Madness, which you can find at links that are down below my chin. So real far down. Show notes. All right, so I wanted to do 2 things differently than we usually do. Nothing huge, but just to make sure that needs are served. So first one is, who didn't get to do much critique or no critique last week or last time, which I think would be Barney, right?
Yeah.
You didn't get a lot of attention, which Mommy and Daddy
the
are
last
sad
time or the
about.
time before?
I'm a middle child. I'm used to not getting much attention.
Definitely last time for sure, Barney did not get critique. So that's that.
And I'm an only child because I'm like, I want to go first.
I'm an only child too, but for some reason I feel like I want to be more fair.
For some reason.
Yeah, I guess I have to be the mature person because I'm hosting. If you were hosting, you could be.
You're facilitating it. Yeah.
Right. So there's that, and then the second one. But of course, there's not any other people here tonight, at least for right now. And I wanted to talk about a specific subject after critiques were over, so I'll leave that for them. It's nothing dire. I thought it would be fun to make at least sure that there was one kind of question to deal with if there was more time, and I think there will be more time. So
like a discussion topic, you mean?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm good with that.
And if other people have other stuff outside of critique specifically, that would be a place to put that too. Like, oh yeah, I found out about this thing, or there's this software I was really interested in, or I got this new pen that I really dig, or whatever.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I was totally going to ask Emily and Christian if they wanted to be like guests, but I completely forgot to do that. So me sorry.
Well, why don't I just send them a message via the Facebooks and. Yeah.
I'm just posting a link to the YouTube video on my Facebook page.
Great.
I'm in line with my Vermont Comic Creators.
You can definitely hear that typing. Clickety clack.
I know.
Somebody clickety thud. You guys hear my Apple Pencil tapping away?
Not much, no.
Well, now, but how about now?
Oh,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Tap.
You're actually, except for your voice, your mic really does a pretty good job of cutting, cutting away stuff that's extraneous sound.
So are you both doing the Drawloween and the Inktober?
Theoretically, I can't guarantee that it's going to happen.
I know that I am, but technically, I don't think I'm going to follow. I'm not going to follow any of the prompts, so I just say Inktober, and I'll also hashtag Drawloween, I'm sure, but I have a weird loyalty to the Inktober name specifically, just because of last year.
They said you did some. I mean, it kind of changed your entire format for you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it really did make me see. It really made me brave enough to take my work in a direction that I was kind of afraid to take at the time. So it's been very helpful because I feel like the stuff I'm doing now is some of the strongest stuff I've done in a very long time, if ever, probably ever.
Are any of you guys doing Plattsnerd this year?
What's that? Oh, the Plattsburgh thing?
Yeah, which is not the Plattsburgh Comic-Con, which is, right, I think, this weekend, but rather the upcoming one that's at the end of October.
Right.
Doing the Nightmare
I am
VT.
most likely not going to be able to. I've still got kind of an open. I've got an open invite for the horror show thing, but I'm seriously considering dropping all extraneous activity for a while, actually, which is probably something I'm going to talk about a little bit. But not as a critique. I don't think I need a critique about that, but
we're going to critique how tired you are.
Yes. Yeah. I've actually been doing a tremendous job at doing that myself for the last 2 months. So yeah. But I'll definitely take any others. Any can join in on telling me how overloaded and all that jazz, I am. But so what's that?
You know already.
Yeah.
Well,
no, but it's always good to hear other people's opinions. Yeah.
Dude, quit it. There we go. No, I'm just kidding. No, don't quit
it. And to be, to give equal time, Mike Wagner is also pretty overloaded too. So
yeah. So if there's anything you need help with, let us know.
Yeah, I'm actually, that's the thing I need to do separate to this is I actually wanted to do a group call that is not a public call and sort of talk about some things. I mean, I've totally fucking spaced meetup this month, so I guess we could have a meetup on Sunday, but I don't know who's going to be able to show up with this short a notice. I was going to put up a post after we.
Oh, what are we doing?
So
No.
Are you? I mean,
I thought I had something on Sunday. I think because I got Jesse's on Friday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
and I can't guarantee I'm going to be there, Jesse. That's. But I will try. I mean, it's all family stuff, and it has. Oh,
Sorry.
you got somebody?
No,
Okay.
I'm checking my phone for my calendar, and it's right next to the microphone. Sorry about that. Boop. I thought I had something on October 1st, but I might not. Yeah.
Well, that's right. This Sunday would be what?
October
1st. Oh, that's hysterical. Okay, so yeah, our meetup for September will be on October 1st.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, big time. Wah, wah.
Procrastinators unite. When do we meet? Whenever.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll do it, figure out later.
Well, I have a feeling everybody's been pretty damn tired since.
That epic cookout.
No, I mean since the Comic-Con.
It's Comic-Con season, yeah. Yeah. All right. I figured out how to fix my font color now. So the thing is, I try to do too much at once, and it was not saving. Okay.
You're trying to where are you trying to do this?
On my website, I was doing.
Okay.
I was changing too many things at once.
Right. This makes me actually think we should get on with critique. So, Barney, do you have what do you? I know it is, right? It's like totally cool idea. So, Barney, what do you want to bring up tonight? And you don't have to invent stuff. It's just like what are you thinking?
You just scribble something real quick. You need us to critique. Hold on.
I'm trying to think. I don't have anything really. It's I've been doing the Ship-tember right now. I've been just drawing Ship-tember. It's the
holy shit.
Is that with a P or a T?
A P. Ship-tember.
As in boat.
Yeah. So I was looking at it on Instagram. It was basically, it's kind of like Inktober, but it was based off of.
Hold on a second. I got to interrupt you about this. My girlfriend has a real pet peeve, and actually I join her in this pet peeve. The based off versus based on.
Uh-huh.
You cannot base anything off of something, but you can base something on something, because the action of creating new derivative things is built upon the foundation of the original thing. Therefore, things are based on things, not based off of
something. I'm glad you say that, because one of my
it's not bad. By the way, grammar, as far as we've checked on this, it apparently is not considered bad grammar to say it either way, but it sounds wrong. So within the confines of this podcast / critique live YouTube video, we will not say based off, or I will stick a pencil in my own in the temple of my brain.
There is another phrase that is off of. Which one is that? Because I know that exists. Like,
oh yeah, probably
off of, maybe.
Yeah, it's not sure.
There was
whatever.
My two pet peeves is when people say irregardless instead of regardless.
I know. What is that? There isn't even. There is no. What is that? I don't even know what irregardless is.
Yeah, and my other one is when people say good instead of well.
What?
When people say good instead of well,
good. Well.
Yeah, you say I'm well. Well is instead of being good is like your actual like moral. Superman is good.
And I know I say that all the time. I'm doing good. I'm okay. Well, actually, I use I'm okay, which does fulfill the well, I think, right?
It does, yeah.
I think that keeps me safe from your wrath.
No, it's not. It's not that bad. But irregardless is the one that gets my goat.
Yeah. There's another one
Or-
too. What's
Could give a crap, or couldn't give a crap.
Oh yeah.
It's like I couldn't give a damn. I could give a damn. Well, that means you do. You can.
You know. One thing I've always wanted to do, and maybe you guys can help me with this, is actually. There's Gene.
Hey, Gene, you
Gene,
made it.
how are you?
Is units of weight. You have the metric system, and then you have like what we use, the American system with the English. And I always thought about the fecal system, because people say a load of crap or a buttload of this or a shit ton of that.
Right.
Like having like how many crap loads is in one shit ton? It's like,
Wow.
fecal measurements is like, okay, how much is
I need to know now. I just need to know.
Dang.
Oh, that's funny.
that's my swear word for the night.
That's good though.
Couldn't give a poo.
Yeah. So I was thinking like the lowest would be like a turd sack, but no one ever has a turd sack of like.
All right then, boys.
All right, get us back in line.
Hello, Gene.
Hi.
Gene, I had no idea that you were you were Yankee Poodle when I saw you.
It's called cosplay for a reason.
I know, but everybody else, yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I was happy that you introduced yourself.
You didn't introduce yourself to me. Yeah, I had no idea, Gene. Surprise. It wasn't until after I saw your Facebook posts after. Like, wait, Gene was Yankee Poodle?
Well,
Yankee Poodle went to town for a convention.
it was fun.
That was really fun. I had a great time. Yeah, so I'm gonna go into Platzner this year. So.
Oh, you're gonna do Platzner.
Yeah, I'm taking Mike with me, Michael. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I got to try to find some headphones.
Okay.
So, Barney, did you actually have anything you wanted us to look at?
I honestly, and it's not even me trying to be, because I'm a Leo and I like the attention, so it's nothing about that. It's just that I really honestly, there's nothing really new other than nothing for publishing. I've been, drawing pictures and posting it on Instagram of some of the, so this is pretty cool. Let me see here. How can I show this? I just thought this was kind of neat. Let me screen share something with you guys real quick. And it's really cool because I haven't been able to work on my
Your regular book? Or?
Yeah, even drawing, because I was basically a year or so. All the stuff that I've been putting out in public are like the 1,000+ pages that I drew over the past few years. So over this past year when I got a new job, it's not like riding a bike. It's not like you can get up and start doing it again. You have to remember how to do it. So,
right, yeah. Muscles.
Yeah. So what I did is, this is just one of my this is something I just wanted to share real quick. Is I used a lamp to take a picture, but I moved the lamp to have it face where the shadow is on the actual picture.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you ended up with this accidental.
Yeah, I did. I did it by accident once, and then I decided to do it again. So. I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Instagram, but I did that. I need to get on there. Like, okay, where's the other one? I started doing them for a few times. This was another one. Cookie. Car. This was the first one I did it by accident. It was a car drive in the morning. But some of the other ones, it's just trying to get back into it. But no, it's good. I've been getting back in. I've been drawing. You can even see how the very first one I did at the beginning of the month was just not as. It was just drawing it back to how I used to, and then compare that to the latest one I did. It's just, things are just get a lot better now than it was at the beginning of the month. Just to get back into it.
God, do you know what it looks like? What's the guy's name? Hold on.
Oh, I put a little homage to you in this one, Jesse.
Which one?
This one.
What?
I drew.
My God, that's the best.
Yeah, when that one toy you really want to play is right now in your little sister's hands, but I drew your little bunny guy in the corner.
That's terrific. My first fan art. So your work kind of reminds me of it's like it was Felicia Bond who did the "If You Give a Mouse a Cookie"
Oh
book.
yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
No, let me look at. I want to.
Yeah, if you look up "If You Give a Mouse a Cookie," it's literally the first thing you'll find because.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, this is one I gave. So Ship-Timber is supposed to be either drawing ships, but then somebody did the one where it's about relationships. So I think relationship. So I've been doing it based off of my Lion and Dove art. So I've been doing things with my daughter and my wife and. Yeah, this one here. This was when I drew this picture out, and I asked Elizabeth to draw a picture inside this picture. So she actually drew.
Aww.
Her artwork.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've realized too that I've gotten. I think from a critique perspective, I've gotten so many more followers on my Instagram by doing hashtags.
That's kind of like a big part of it, yeah. No matter where.
Yeah. Like this one here, I did a hashtag for refrigerator art gallery, and I got I think like 12 new followers because they were probably just clicking on that and it popped up. But,
yeah, I like this is all new, right?
Brand new, all within. I've been drawing one a day.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's actually doing the one a day is extremely good idea.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, just to get into, can you go back to the grid?
Yeah.
So this way we can see it all, and just scroll up to the top again. So. First of all, because it just happens to be the layout of Instagram, it's already making itself into a comic. You know, the funny thing that I picked up immediately, and it just starts scrolling slowly down, is that if you just look at what happens with this Instagram page, imagine if you had captions in each one, and this was all one long recollection. It could be individual pages of a kid's book, or it
totally.
Or it could be one big.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Because you could hear a narrator's voice somewhere over all of this, right? You know, and so I know they're not connected events per se, but what's cool about it is that like look what happens just thematically and with the mechanics of comics when everything is grouped together, we force a narrative on it, right?
Right.
Even if it's a meta narrative, and that's some basically really unique stuff that happens only in comics, because it can only happen with sequential panels or sequential graphic events. So that just makes me feel like you could just take all these and I just want you to make like, you know, panels out of this and just arrange it and then write something for it. But either way, also with the detail of it, I mean, I know what the original books look like, and definitely your drawing is improved. I think, like for instance, there's one now that's in the bottom right. It's kind of blue cast. Is that a bathroom scene, maybe?
This one?
Nope. Now I'm looking upper left. You see
Upper
that?
left. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her taking all the toilet paper off the toilet paper.
This is great. Great. And it's also it's like, but it's better. It's also improvement in your drawing, and it's ambitious because it's the whole scene.
Yeah.
And even doing little things with the wallpaper, I'm definitely seeing, to me, like something that's got the same kind of fun, light line that Richard Scarry's stuff used to have, and other kinds of family picture book stuff. And I just I like what you're doing, and I like that even though there's a lot of detail in it, it's also extremely open. Like I don't feel like anything's crowding anything. I don't feel like I'm being oppressed by a lot of busy stuff, busy work. I feel like you're doing precisely what needs to be done and no more or less. I like the textured line. I don't know if that's a byproduct of sketchy inking or if it's because you're using a ballpoint pen or what exactly it is, but I do like the effect of it in its outcome. I could see it colored with very sort of light, puffy kind of, or watercolory kind of looking color, you know, like translucent color that's not oppressive. It could be very, really sublime, I think. A lot of this drawing, you know, but I this particular drawing I really like a lot.
And I know when I was in art school, I was the only guy that was doing comics at the fine art school because we were all those people. And it was one of those guys that was the one thing I learned. The main thing I learned from that was that it was you have to tell your teachers what they want to hear. Like, you know, it's like you know, it's like this isn't fine art, and it's well actually, and then you talk about like, you know, some of the, you know, then you bring up what's that? Thurber? No, what's the guy's name?
Oh, William Thurber. Yeah,
Thurber. Yeah.
Yep. No, for sure, I could see that.
Any of the old New Yorker cartoonists from the 20s and 30s. Yeah. You know,
but what I see a lot of is actually Richard Scarry, and also like the guy that does. Or maybe actually I don't know who does what's that aardvark?
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I have a book, but also
it's animated now, of course. But or Berenstain Bears, you know, that's another one. But
Mercer Mayer, who does the monster,
the little critter.
Yeah, and
Mercer Mayer, yeah.
And I see that in this, you know, and I don't mean like I see you copying that. I just mean I see a sort of a process that's influenced by those things, and to a good outcome. So yeah,
and I see there. And some of my favorite books growing up were those books like you mentioned, the Richard Scarry, the ones that had so much to look at. I could spend hours looking at children's book illustrations when I was a kid, just looking for things to see. Yep. You know, finding little photo
books too.
Yeah, like finding things that are happening on the side. And some of my other comics that I did, I liked having side conversations happening, random conversations happening in the background. Yeah, but it felt, and to be honest, it just felt good to just get back to drawing again, you know, and it just, you know, and it's and just doing just ink, you know, like ballpoint pen and paper, you know, and then
yeah.
You
know, the thing that's interesting about, you know, we all want to work with the best materials that we can. We want to all try to, you know, craft is highly critical, important thing to everybody who works in this medium. But there are also times when you have to be willing to, or be comfortable with, using the most bare bones of materials. And there are plenty of people who are doing indie comics that are actually intentionally using the most bare bones of materials, because, you know, you can really only get a line like that with a ballpoint, with an oil-based rolling ball tip.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that can produce that line, except for a very raspy nib with a very fluid ink on a vellum, like a kid finished Bristol, but with a very light touch, the way like Ed Korn does, But aside from that, the ballpoint pen looks like ballpoint pen. It looks like nothing like anything else, and nothing else looks like it. And I think also the color, it's not a black line, which invites, I think, some ease and a little bit of breathing room. There's something that's less definitive about it, and I don't mean that in that structurally it's not definitive, but rather like almost like, again, there's breathing room when the line is not black for some reason.
There's a casualness to it.
There's a casualness to it, and it makes it open, and I think it makes it more friendly or human or something. I'm not sure what it is, but there's always, it's like when you see a lot of indie books that are, sometimes they're printed not with black ink, but sometimes there'll be a cream paper, and it might be a purple ink or a green ink or some other color, sepia, and it definitely makes a huge difference in the way it affects you. It's almost like it creeps in slowly and deeply rather than that kind of bold black on white, boom, 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 so just different aesthetics, right, for different purposes. But I think that's another whole thing that I kind of like about this, actually, and I'm a person who just only likes really classical materials, but here's again, and I think this is even better drawn. That one there, click on that again.
This one?
This is even better drawn.
This
so
this
cute.
Really
your 1-year-old waking you up at 2 a.m. to play. Yeah.
And who would like this is our chicken friends, our 2 members that are chicken obsessed.
Yeah.
But this is even better drawing here. To me, this is actually a really good drawing.
And I drew that light ink, and then I just drew with a pen just lighter in the background to kind of signify distance. But yeah.
No, I like that. Can you show us another one?
Yeah. I don't know, and what's cool is that I'm inventing worlds within worlds too doing it. So I'm inventing a favorite storybook called Karate Kitties, that I'm reading.
That's great. I want you to write Karate Kitty next.
Yeah.
Karate Kitty.
That's awesome.
It's about and then the book's called Karate Kitty on the Moon.
I'd read that to my granddaughter any day.
Sure.
Karate Kitty totally sounds like the TV show that the characters watch on another cartoon show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
On the next episode of Karate Kitty.
Yeah. That's a great. There's another great shot. That's just a good basic shot. It's like it's framed. It's nice. There's just enough detail so we know what the space is and what it's, and we definitely got a family. I mean, it's good. I think so. To me, the only thing I have left to say is just really don't stop doing these daily drawings. Really, really don't, because clearly you're on a roll, and clearly it's feeding. Even though I know you were saying these are just to do it. Yeah. This is a book to me. This is the start of new stuff, and a new narrative. This is a narrative. This is a thing. Even if it's one of these per page and it's a square digest-sized book, really thick, with lots of cool sort of vignettes, essentially like events, right? But this is good, and don't stop, and and then when you finally get to a subdivergent point where you're like, oh, I know what story to do next. I know what chapter of my story to do next. Fine, but this could be the next book, and to me, I could see doing this for 6 months or even 12 months and getting the best material, and then here's another 60-page book or something, right? But again, square, even if you do 4 per page, but I think 1 per page is actually kind of really hot, and then the text for the panel would be on the other facing page, in quotes or something nice, so it's this very very gentle kind of thing, like this really sort of serene thing. Whether it's in color or not, I don't know, but I think, you know, that could be a really great thing. But don't stop doing these every day, because I think the effect on your work, and I think the effect on your decision making in your drawing is actually clearly it's a good effect. So that's all I have to add. Somebody else want to go?
Yeah, the improvement is definitely noticeable. I mean, and each one does absolutely. I 100% agree with Greg that each one looks like it could be the page of a children's book, which is why the first thing I thought of was the "If You Give Your Mouse a Cookie" book, because it's a very similar kind of thing stylistically, and I agree. Like a watercolor could really like make it pop, and some of the stuff you have colored even right now looks really good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very heartfelt and endearing and fun. So
cool. Well,
what about
thank
you,
you,
Gene?
guys.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Funky man.
I would, if you were going to hand color, I would definitely say I would be interested to see you use like a translucent water-based coloring, or the emulation of that in digital. But you know, I think actually it would be very interesting to see this stuff hand colored on the art, or on, you know, laser copies of the art, so that you could mess up, or, you know, like, so you could, like, you know, test out different things. But
Right.
that's the only other thing I'm going to add. Gene, what do you think about what's going on here with
I think that
Barney?
these are great. I can almost see, if you just shifted them around a little bit, you get like a sequential kind of a day in the life, or a week in the
Really?
life of
Don't you
this
think?
family.
Yeah.
And you almost don't even need words. It might be interesting to have a children's book that doesn't have words prompting you, so that when you're reading it to a little kid, you can just make up the story as you go along, and you can change it a little bit, and you could change the words, and you could change what's happening within the context of the actual picture. You know, you could do a bunch of different things. Like, this is making veggie smoothies for his sick husband, but it could just be he's just up in the morning waiting anxiously for his smoothie because he loves him so much. Or you know, or it could be or it's fresh orange juice, or whatever it is, you know. So it could be interpreted. These can all be interpreted just slightly differently. I think words are great. I think most people expect words.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure about the watercolor concept. I would like to see it, like, if you did some digital, very flat colors, just very simple flat colors. But I don't know. I would say try different things. Throw some digital color in there so you can take it out, you know, or try something on different page, you know, photocopies or whatever, you know. But I think these are very endearing. And anybody would be like super happy to be able to read this book to their kids. I think you got something going here, and I love that it's just so. It's not is ostentatious. Is that the word?
Mm.
You know, it's just everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, it's just basic everyday life that everybody deals with. You know,
Yeah.
and kids are funny.
Yeah.
And parents deal with all kinds of stuff, so you got all kinds of things to draw off of. It's just great.
And also, you know, parents are funny, and that's where there's two levels of engagement for this, to me. You know,
Right.
It's like, this is a book you can read to the kids, but I think also this is a comic that could hold up as essentially a mini graphic novel or whatever, or
Right.
kids book for adults, or, you know, it's like kids book for parents or something. Like,
You
I
could
think
go either way for it, depending on how you wrote it.
well, yeah, and I think the real clever thing would be to write it so that it could handle both, and not knock either one out, and then somehow it becomes very universal, and so then it's sort of like, oh, I'm a parent, I like this book. Oh, as a family we read this book. Oh, my kids like this book because it makes fun of, you know, the kind of weird stuff moms and dads deal with. You know, like, I think you have it in you, Barney, because you have that perspective, and you've done it already in your other books, on other parts of your family life, like the marriage and so
Right.
forth. And I think if you can apply that same thing to whatever's going on in these pictures with your narrations on the sides, I just think, boy, you got, that's a book that could appeal in different ways, and maybe even be a book that you could actually get a publisher interested in, to be perfectly honest.
One of my ideas is having that, like the spin-off of it, because each kind of series is about a part of my life. Like Relief is about my work with Doctors Without Borders, and then it's not an exact sequel, but then my marriage, Lion and Dove, is about this. And one of my ideas I have for kids is doing a children's book, and I call Elizabeth, my nickname for Elizabeth is Elizabeth. So that's why there's a lion and a dove that got married and had a kid that's actually a bear. So it has like no like
I didn't even question it.
Yeah,
Just, yep, that's their kid.
And one of the ideas that I've been getting as she's growing up, and one of the things she talks about is these different castles. So I have an idea of in like holiday themed ones, like one is like Elizabeth and the Christmas Tree Castle. Another one is Elizabeth Goes to Trick or Treat Castle. So there's all these things she's already talking about. So yeah, and kids are just a great font of like bizarre imagination that you just can't. Like she told me the other day that spiders dream of rocket ships. I'm like, okay,
Okay, well, that's the title of one of them.
Yeah, it's like it reminds me of what was the one? Electric Sheep. What was it? Android's Dream.
Yeah, do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yeah. So yeah, spiders dream of.
Just as a side, I would like to go to Trick or Treat Castle. Sounds awesome.
But yeah, well, thank you guys. That was
I think it's great. It's really great.
Yeah, looks really good.
Keep drawing. Keep drawing one a day. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Greg, do you remember what was it called? It was on PBS, Secret City or something like that, or
no? What
it was in the 70s and 80s? It was this guy. It was one of those PBS shows like The Electric Company and stuff. And it was this guy. It was a drawing show for kids. And at the end of he would always say,
it was in the 80s and 90s, and it was Commander Mark and the Secret City. Although he's named the same show, different names each time he redoes his show. Like he's come out with like 7 different shows.
Okay. And he did this thing about draw 15 minutes a day.
Yeah. And he was the one who had that like direction lines, like it was like draw a direction 7 line, draw a direction 3 line, like like an angle, a line going this way was one number. It was also kids could just break out of the idea that they couldn't draw. You just sort of make it easier.
And at the end, yeah.
He was really weird and obnoxious, of course, but at the same time obviously, he's done a great job over 20 plus years of teaching kids and adults how to draw. So, it works, right?
Yes, that's the guys. Yeah, Secret City. That's what. Yeah, and he did this at the end of the episode. He would draw a little something on this giant space city.
Yep,
that he would do.
Part of the deal. It was like a big mural that by the end of the show, like the end of the last episode, it was all filled up.
That's what. It was called Secret. I just found it on YouTube. Secret City. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Secret City. All right.
So, who wants to go next?
I would, if Gene doesn't mind.
Okay.
Okay.
And just see, I got about 20 more minutes too, so I got to work early in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you only have 20 minutes?
I got to be there at 7.
You only have 20 minutes, Gene? Or half an hour?
Yeah. I got it.
Jesse, would it be okay for us to switch to her?
I really only have a half an hour too.
Oh, okay.
I got one picture.
Okay.
Okay, Gene, if you only have one picture, we'll do you first.
Well, but I don't actually have it. I mean, I do, but
I have
Greg
it,
has
so I'll share it for you. So let me get
Okay.
that booted up.
I'll only take 5 minutes because I don't need a whole lot of time.
That's okay.
Okay. All right.
And that'll give me time to stick around and see your stuff, Jesse.
All right, I'll be back.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't mean to chomp at the bit, but I have this one sequence that it's just driving me nuts.
No. I also didn't realize that you had a limited time.
I did mention it the other day.
Sorry,
I will be very, very, very quick.
No, you don't have to be very, very quick. I just, I was like hoping to be able to be done around 9:30, 9:45, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I've got, he's going to show this. I've got the pencil and the inking. It's a sequential that I did in the inkers group. You can't see it yet, but the black bars at the bottom I added at the end, and I was just kind of trying to finish it up, and I just went with what was there and didn't really think about the overall look of it.
Right.
And it didn't end up coming out.
No, this is
oh,
go ahead.
That's the pencil.
Yeah, and this is
That's
Mike.
okay.
This is Mike Zeck's pencils. Mike
Yep.
Zeck, professional Marvel and DC artist, and I believe this is a Western era Green Lantern story. Looks like.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And that looked familiar.
And here's the finished product.
I should. Greg, can you put that link up for the Google Hangout? Because I can just dump those in there. I completely forgot about that.
Oh, the drive folder?
Yeah. It'll make it a lot easier to show stuff. I mean, I'll still share my screen, but this way you guys can look at it a little more in depth.
Here, I'm sharing it with you, so you'll get a link pop up somewhere. Just check your email, and then you can throw it in that folder. Or actually, hold on a second. Here, just look in the chat window for the Hangouts, and I just pasted it in there as well.
Yeah, got it.
Now I'm going to go back. So here's your final inks.
Yep. So you can see the bars at the bottom. While they were on the pencil, they were they were kind of filled in really quickly on the pencil, and then I just kind of filled them in at the end, and I was just like, afterwards I realized, oops, that was a mistake. I should have done a more of a sketchy, like the rocks up above them, to kind of have them flow in better, because it doesn't look like it belongs at all.
Are you talking about when you say black bars? Are you talking about these panel?
Yeah, the panel lines on the bottom three.
You wouldn't want to do those sketchy. I mean, those are supposed to be panels, so they need to be resolute. They need to be solid areas.
Right, but the other, like, it doesn't flow with the rest of the page, though, by any means, and it really makes it I either need to put some panel lines on, like the top one, and leave the middle one blank, or I should have done them like wood, or a wooden texture, or more like the rocks, and just brought the rocks all the way down so that they.
Here's the thing. When we're
talking, cool, actually. I kind of like the way it looks now, but
yeah, I mean, one of the things you're working in here is the conventions of what would be considered a professional industry comic, and in that kind of a comic, we're using pretty rigid conventions of panel building and structure, right? So there's a reason why Zeck picked this bigger, thicker black, because the character is dead, or at least might be dead on the ground. And the large and the out to bleed black gutters, right? Which is what these are. These are gutters.
Okay.
Having them filled in black makes us focus in on it directly. Also makes it more death-like. It makes it more. There's a finality to it and a darkness to it. Okay. putting these top panels as panoramic and bleed panels, right, because they're going off the edges of the printed page, reflects bringing up like old westerns, which were shot in widescreen, Panavision, that kind of thing. So he's starting out building the scene in a classic western, and as they turn a corner and look down, now something dire has happened. So we break out of horizontal, and now the verticals reinforce some more concentrated action, some more concentrated view. So I would say
think
that
the one that the one that was actually, like, I didn't see it till afterwards. The rocks here in this middle panel were mostly black right along that top edge of the third panel, and going up the right side, those rocks were mostly solid black. They didn't have the sketchy lines on them. In the on the final page that was printed in the comic or whatever.
Oh, I see what you mean. In other words, they
Like
went with more like as a silhouette here.
Solid, and it went right. Yeah,
so,
this was a silhouette.
I would say that I would agree with that choice, because what this is doing as a silhouette is it's helping to frame and put into the distance. It helps to frame this shape, this rock area, and allows it to become a framing element rather than a literal drawing.
Right.
And just like in the far distance here, there's the silhouette of the little things turn into silhouette as they go into the distance. And I think that the other way that this works nicely is that it allows there to be a building of the solid black down into these gutters, right?
Well, right. That's what I realized after I had already made those decisions, that it didn't work with the gutters that were there.
However, I will say this, because you put in some nice tone, and you could just maybe make this line thicker.
Okay.
A little bit, but I wouldn't do much. I mean, it's just a different approach. You're just saying, okay, you know.
Should I make the other line thicker too, between 1 and 2? Give it the same thickness as between 2 and 3?
Maybe. Or you could even, yeah, I don't know. The other thing you could do actually is you could just get some solids blacks in here. See, like.
Oh, okay.
Like in here.
Yep. Pick out a few.
In here.
Yeah.
A little bit down there. There, so that it goes from hatch to some blacks.
Okay.
And then those blacks will carry down into these blacks, right?
That's a good idea.
But I wouldn't lose this, because it's just like different inkers do different approaches, right? I mean, some inkers would follow his gear and say, all right, it's a big silhouette, it drops into the panel gutters. Some people would be like, no, I think you would still see some texture. It's not like you're going to see a silhouette in real life. You would maybe here with these figures with their high contrast shadows, because it's the desert and everything, high sun. But, you know, you're close to these, so you're going to see those details. So I think that's a choice.
I really wanted to bring those forward closer to the viewer.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this, just so that I can make sure that Jesse gets his time too. But
yep.
In my overall thing is, I just really feel like this is just really good inking, and when I saw this, I was like, holy crap! Like, you really just took it up a notch, Gene, and you really like.
Thank you.
I just think that of course you're following, you know, and which is what all inkers want, is to follow the best pencilers, right?
Right.
So that they can be inspired to do, you know, their best work. But I think that it's really clear.
So I would change this. I don't know if you can see my cursor. The 1, 2, 3. On the third, on the bottom panels.
I can't see your cursor because.
Okay, so I'll explain it. The bottom 3 panels. The first one, the horse.
Okay, hold on just a moment.
Okay. So the bottom 3, the first one, the horse in the middle there, I've got some line work on the front of it, but forgot it on the back end of the horse.
Okay.
And I was going to add that in, and up on the very top panel, the guy in the center, Baldy.
Yep.
I wanted to do just a little. I forgot to do a little bit of like some cross hatching or etching on the gun handle, on his pistol handle, just to make it, make it a little less flat. Those were the two things, other than dealing with the black issue that I had knew I needed to fix. But anyway, thank you.
I think that just to finish, for some reason it wasn't. There we go. Yeah, so I think those are all good ideas. I think this cross hatching here is not as on as your other hatching. I think all your other hatching is really great because it's very definitive in its directions. And this cross hatching is getting a little muddy.
Okay.
And what's really nice about this horse in the back is the way you just kind of did the line, a few lines, then we have some tone. But if you look like at the hatching here under his pistol, and look at the hatching along this horse here,
right,
there's much more definitive single directions than another direction meeting.
Okay.
And better done also here. So I think, you know, you could, that would be the next time would be like, this is a little muddy,
okay,
a little less defined.
Yeah.
But and you're again doing really great down here, so it just feels like this. And this could even be a patch paper thing where you could re-ink this, paste it on top, or whatever you want to call it.
Sure. I think the challenge was texture, so I was getting a little too artsy fartsy with it, maybe, you know.
And this is a good thing about inking too, where it's like, you know, do your thing, but also your penciler's giving you information, and you can definitely work from it and try using what's there, and you know, that kind of thing. Which is why doing some tests also helps. Yeah,
I did. I always do like a pencil thing over a blue first, right, to see if I want to change anything or how I'm going to attack things for light and dark.
But I definitely feel like this is your best inking so far.
Well,
and
thank you.
Like if some indie creator, you know, needed you to ink a book like this, and it was like a Western or, you know, a period thing in the, you know, an older period thing or a fantasy. I mean, this is good. This is good starting inks. Like this is publishable inks to me. So
great.
I think it's really good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The hatching in the rocks in that second panel is just great.
It's really good.
Looks
thank
really,
you.
really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I mean, of course, we got Mike Zeck's pencils. He's a good giving penciler, but just to be fair to you, they're. I don't know why I can't find the thing to go back to, but
the pencil, yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. There we go. You know, it's not Zach's tightest work either. Especially when we get into areas like this, the rocks, where he's relying on. This is probably a quick deadline job.
Yep.
He knows that if he has a pro inker, they're going to know how to draw. But yeah, I think the marriage of the two is really, really interesting. And you know, I mean, it's definitely publishable. At least I don't know if it would be publishable for a DC comic or Marvel comic standards, but definitely I think for a European or an indie comic book, you know, this is, you know, I think you should start looking to try to get some actual paid indie small publisher work.
I actually have somebody who's looking at me for something.
Yeah, then make sure to check into what you should be getting for money though. And,
oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. So
I find the time first.
Right.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else want to say anything there on that? Barney?
No, I like it. I mean, I think it was pretty solid. Cross hatching is always hard to do because, as what Greg was saying, you not only is it to give depth, but you give shape to things that the pencilers put on. So,
well, thank you. Thank you so much.
So Jesse, what's up with you, man?
He's struggling.
Well, I gotta 2-page strip that's not going to come out until like December, but I'm just having trouble with it. I didn't mean to rush through, Eugene.
No,
Do you feel like you got enough input on that?
Absolutely.
All blame can go to me for not getting the show started.
No, that's fine. I mean, you got a lot on your plate. Realistically, I mean, we can talk about this later, but realistically, I should be hosting these from now on, just because it was kind of my idea, and you have enough going on. So, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's on me.
Okay.
So let's see what your issue is there.
So let's see here. Little share button. I did put these on the little Google Hangouts page where you can download them and look at them if you want. But I'm gonna share, gonna hide.
Yes.
Us, and so.
Oh, there we go.
This is. Can you see it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-page. They're going to be stacked on top of each other when I eventually publish it. But this is a 2-page one about the group looking out their front door and seeing like a weird 2001: A Space Odyssey type monolith thing in their yard. The thing that I'm looking for in terms of critique is how it's kind of paced out, especially that second page. I had a bunch of imagery that I wanted to use, but I kind of feel like it might be a little overdone and maybe not paced well in that last little bit. And some of the dialogue is going to be changed slightly for like the last bit, so I'm not super worried about dialogue. That I'm pretty okay with, but it's just like the visuals and how everything's put together. Like originally, the second panel and on that second page, the group was going to have their own shot of the reaction to him about to touch it, but I couldn't quite fit it in properly. So
I just laughed out loud at that last square. That's funny.
Not the last bit.
Yeah. Pretty sure I know less stuff. Yeah.
I like it, and pretty much everything works to me. I think you don't need that sub panel on panel 3B of the second page. You could just toss that and make the upper part of that.
Oh, see, yeah.
The whole panel.
Because you're already showing.
Okay, so
not the last one. Yeah.
And it breaks your joke. It breaks the visual gag.
Okay.
So that you can take out, and then
that was kind of the Sorry, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, that would punch it up and make it fit like with the other. The only other thing I could see is compressing the bear in panel 1 to the left more, so you have more room, because that panel 2 on page 1 really wants to be bigger, wants to have more room, so this thing can have more space to be ominous, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I feel like it's too crowded in. I don't mean the door thing per se, although it could be wider, the space in the door, but I just feel like everything's happening in the first panel, and now there's not enough room for panel 2, when really everything that's happening in panel 1 could be squashed by at least a third of the space over to the left, and make way more room for that thing.
Okay.
The only other thing is, and panel 4 is fine. Like panel 4, totally fine. Everything's good.
Which page?
Page 1. Sorry.
Okay.
So last panel, but I could also see a variation on that, where the monolith is in the center with forced perspective, looking straight up at it like a worm's eye view, and the heads of the characters in a row, and it's all on a big 1-point perspective going up in this straight up, as if it's looming over them.
So the last page of the last panel of page 2, or the last panel of page 1?
Page 1.
Okay. So that last panel having it be like a forced perspective of a 1-point instead, with all the characters. Yeah. That would solve a little problem I have too with that last panel, is that Jak is not where he's supposed to be in relation to the panel before it.
Yeah.
The only issue with that is that it's hard to get Agnes in shots like that because she's so much shorter than the other ones are.
Yeah, I get that because she's in,
which is why Crunch is holding Lucy, because she always has to be at head level.
right.
Yeah.
It's always kind of a fun visual gag figuring out how to get her on furniture, just so she's not on the floor all the time. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the monolith needs to loom a little bit more, and then at the point where he's touching it, nothing is happening. It's nice that it's manageable size, but until they realize that it's not doing anything to him, you know, it should be like in their brain as this giant thing.
Oh, like what Greg's showing now.
This is what I mean, Jesse. Like this kind of an arrangement.
I can't really see it because I'm sharing both pages together.
Just take a look down and
click on his
icon.
name.
You don't have to move any of your stuff. Just go to the Hangout window.
Oh yeah, okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And almost like the way that cuts off, and their silhouettes or their whatever they are.
Or should that be the third panel in page 1? Because I'm just them all looking at it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the way it could be an alternative arrangement of that panel 4. You know, instead of it being a bunch of little characters and the things at a side view, which is less imposing. It just doesn't have it just isn't imposing. This to me is more dramatically imposing.
What if you combined
anyway
the bottom two panels 3 and 4 into that view of 4, so that it was one big panel?
I think that
them looking up at it.
Yeah, the one thing that works really well for Jesse's stuff is this 4-panel grid thing that he does.
Oh, okay.
It would disrupt too much of that for one thing, but I mean that is a way to possibly solve it.
Yeah, I think I need that beat of them actually going outside to see it.
Yeah.
Because originally I had it kind of set up. Sorry, go ahead.
Just close down your Hangout window, or I mean, not close it, but minimize it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, there you
gotcha.
Yep.
I would have shared just the program, but it just doesn't work when trying to show two things at once.
Yeah,
they're not in the same file.
No, a lot of times just sharing the desktop itself is way better.
So have you decided to use the word creepy instead of big?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not worried about dialogue. Honestly. I don't need any critique with that. It always changes up until even after everything's completely finished. So it's like totally. If there's going to be like even a slight difference in words, that's why it looks weird. That first page, the third and fourth word balloon, they used to be one, but I changed the orientation of the pages, so it changed quite a bit.
What font do you use? I forget what you said. Did you get it from Blambot?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to see the monolith in panel 2 look larger somehow when they're looking out the door.
Yeah, of the on the first page, you mean?
Yeah, on the first page. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, that's okay. Yeah,
taller or wider or take up more space or.
Yeah, no. Greg is absolutely. Yeah, I think everyone's right in that. Is that everything seems to be super focused on that first panel, when the point of it is that second panel. It's what they're looking at that matters, not the fact that they're looking at something.
Right.
So this is all very helpful so far because it just all felt very jumbled, which is why I was having issues with it.
Well, I love your stuff, so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I keep having more and more fun with the series. But
it shows definitely too.
Yeah. Also, like slight changes in the characters have been taking place again. Like Crunch kind of went through a bit of a change recently with how his jaw was set, and now not in this one because this is a little older than some of the newer stuff I've been doing, but Agnes actually has like more defined feet now. And no longer does she have stripes on her legs because I started to feel like that was a little too visually messy. So, yeah, just little stuff like that. But anyway, what other questions might I have had on this? So, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like that's pretty much everything. What does everyone think of that last panel on the second page? Is that I think I might stretch that a little bit bigger just because now that other thing is going to be just one panel. So I'm going to widen that a tad.
Yeah. Well, I it's like it reminds me I don't know if this is the point that you're trying to make, but it loses the mystique as soon as he touches it. It becomes less imposing. It almost just becomes, banal or
a refrigerator or something. Yeah.
Well, it's like Greg had pointed something out that I thought was very interesting that I wasn't really doing intentionally, but that I'm really I'm paying more attention to now is the whole idea of kind of the nihilism of all of it. There's all this insane stuff that happens to these characters, and 9 times out of 10, they either don't care or it turns out to just be something that they don't need to worry about.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't mean to get all like deep and symbolic, but looking at it now, I didn't mean this when I first started working on this piece, but it's like, there's this big imposing thing that is right at their front door that they have to deal with, and they're all terrified to touch it. But the minute one of them makes the leap and faces the thing that they're afraid of, they realize that it has no power.
That totally comes across.
Yeah, and I didn't really mean to do that, but it definitely has that. Most of them, I don't necessarily look into the deeper meaning of each one, just because I just like the idea of them being irreverent. But I'm sure if I went back and reread a bunch of them, I'd find stuff that I didn't necessarily mean to put in there. But yeah, there's something about this one that I just really love. Like sometimes, like the idea that I came up with most of the time when I'm working on this series, it ends up being like the idea for the weird thing happens first, then the gag happens. So it's like there's a monolith in their yard. Okay, so what's funny about that? Well, they touch it and it doesn't do anything. Okay.
It still doesn't answer why it's there, how it got there.
Yeah, I think like we as humans, we both crave answers and don't like knowing things. So it's kind of like it's this crazy paradox where it's like a back and forth kind of thing where it's like, it's just, yeah, I don't know, just
it leaves you wanting to know more, which is great. Even though that things turns out to be kind of benign when he touches it, it's still this thing in their yard. And you still have no idea why it's there. Yeah. So you want to know more. So you're going to check in next week and see what's going on, right?
Yeah, and of course, next week. What is next week? I even know what next week is. Next week is them having a debate about Lucy being able to have her potluck for her yoga class at the house or not. That's the next one.
That's good.
Yeah. The gag for that is actually it's actually, oh hell, I'll show you guys. It's completely done except for the words aren't put in. But while we are showing and/or telling, unless anyone had something more important they wanted to chat about right now, I'll show, because this one, once I have a big buffer of them, I start drawing them not in order, whichever one like interests me the most. it ends up being a lot of them end up getting completed just utterly out of order. But I can get back to. I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute so I can share the one here. But
We have 3 people watching.
you like story time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Creepy.
Oh, good.
Hi, internet. Application window. This one. So I'll just narrate. So like in the background, she's like they're kind of debating. She's like, "Come on, Dr. P, have a heart." "Lucy, I said no." And Agnes is like, "What's going on?" Have the potluck for her yoga class at the house, and Agnes is immediately like, "Oh no, no way." And when he puts her down on the table, she's like, "But why?" And Dr. P is like, "You know why? It'll ruin the house." And she's like, "But you let me have my dance recital here." "Yeah, and we were cleaning the blood up for weeks."
Yeah, that's good.
Oh God, I love these.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah. Matt, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm so proud of this series and how
You should be, man. These are
it's been going
great.
and just how productive I've been, and that the ideas just, who knew if you sat down and just thought of ideas, you could get ideas. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Sarcastically and truthfully, because it just always seems like there's so many excuses out there to be like, "Oh, I can't come up with ideas," and it's like you really have to like take a block of time and sit down and really just kind of figure it out,
Well, some people are writers, some people are artists, some people are both. I'm not the idea person. I know that about myself. I'm
Someone
not
who dresses
that. I
up
think
as
it's
Yankee.
amazing.
I don't know, Gene. Someone who dresses up as Yankee Poodle has got some ideas.
But I think it's actually it's a good point to recognize that in comic making, for anybody who's watching this who is not a member of the group, or you just found this on YouTube somewhere because of the way it was tagged. Not everybody who goes into comics makes like the whole thing, right? And some people do the industry method where there's writer, artist, letterer, colorist, inkers. Some people do all the art and they work with a writer, and then maybe there's even a third person doing lettering. I mean, there's just different ways to do it, right? But they each have their own creativity and they all have their own really vivid contribution to the whole, right? Because the whole in the end is you reading the story. So I think it's really important to like Jean, for instance, is just really putting a tremendous amount of energy into this thing that she's really turns her on, which is inking stuff. I mean, obviously you draw and you whatever, but you really, the one part of comics that seems to be for some reason your thing. So
Yeah, it definitely is.
You like inking. Jesse is a whole picture person and also very much wanting to come up with like the perfect timing. Not just like a cool strip, but also the timing, right? And then with Barney stuff, Barney's really thinking about the big picture. It's about the life of, or the real, my experience. So real autobiographical, even if it's altered into animal forms or whatever. But that's where Barney's at. For me, I have a lot of different things I want to do, and I have a lot of different things I have done, experimental things. And I have a couple of autobiographical comics I'd like to do. Hope I get to do them. But right now, working very hard on something that's genre with a writer, contributing my own parts to it, but also, allowing the pieces to be separate a bit. They're all different. They all have different value. And that's what's really amazing about the medium too, is that you can come at it from all four of our perspectives and all be successful with making comics, and whatever that means. It might not be financial success, but it might be artistic success, definitely, and accomplishment success, and people reading it success. But you can come at it from all those angles, and you can do some really amazing things.
You know what? When you saying that, Greg, it's almost like it's scripted out, like the end of a Jerry Springer episode where he does his like final thoughts.
Well, thanks. Thank you. Although I have no professional, well, that's not necessarily true. I did a little radio, and I definitely did public access TV for 9 years. So maybe I have that gift. I don't know, but
sounds like you got a lot.
Thanks. But it's all true.
It is, and Jesse, man, I'm in awe. You got it all. You do all of it. You know, your writing is great. Your gags are great. Your timing is great. Your art's spot on. You've really got your characters defined. I'm thoroughly impressed, and I find it your work on this series completely enjoyable.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Barney, can you share your Instagram again?
Yeah, you mean open it up?
Yeah, can you find it real quick?
Yeah. Just type in Instagram.
Greg, while he's doing that, can you show me that little example that you gave of that forced perspective image?
Oh,
from that one panel, because I'm experimenting right now.
Hold on. Yeah, because technically you could do a screen grab of if I can hold it. Hold on, let me anchor my hand a little bit. You see that, Art?
Yeah. Let me steal it. I mean,
there we go.
I mean, screen capture it. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yep.
Got it.
Oh, actually, you know, I should probably share something I'm working on, right?
Oh yeah.
I never have anything to show. Because I'm always so. What's happening right now for me is there's a, and I'm not going to go into any big long thing about it because it would take way too long. Here we go. So there's just many different stressors going on right now. And,
whoa.
Okay, so you're gonna
outlet.
You gotta now. You is this all done by hand?
Primarily, yes.
How'd you get the little dots?
That is digital. That's all digital.
I gotta get some of that stuff, that plastics, that
Yeah, you don't need that anymore. What you need is some really good brushes that will emulate that and take care of the. I mean, you can buy Zipatone if you want.
That's what I want.
These brushes are scanned from actual tone like that. So it has that crunchy sort of. The lines are actually made out of inked lines, and the dots are made out of dot patterns that were from old scanned tonal sheets. I can turn you on to this brush set. It's made by Alex Ducal.
I don't have any digital anything.
Oh, right. Well, then maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to invest in some. I think the company called Deleter, which is Deleter, they make manga comic supplies. They're a Japanese company. They're the only ones left that are still making tone film.
Right. Yeah.
And you can buy that stuff online and everything.
Yeah, I probably just need to buy some kind of a Photoshop.
You know, it could be in your. It might be a good idea. You know.
Gene, I could probably share a link for you. I'll have to find it later, but there's a bunch of Photoshop alternatives out there if you wanted to just put your feet in the water.
Okay.
I use Inkscape for lettering, and I got that. Mike Luoma told me about that one. That's a free.
That's a vector program. That's not a raster program, so that's not going to help with so much.
Right.
You know, I will say if you want to use like for instance, Ducal's brush set or Kyle's brush set, which are very popular and have really good, you can get really good results.
I have a lot of the Kyle brushes.
Yeah, that's a Photoshop environment. It's not gonna play out. It's not gonna be usable in Krita or GIMP or other stuff like that. And I would actually say, like, you know, just go ahead and get Photoshop or get Manga Studio or whatever they're calling it now, because it's only $87. And stick with a professional standard product,
Right.
that will you know, have a learning curve that's just as tough as any other, but the results are going to be more, I think, are going to be more successful for you.
Yeah.
But,
Right now, I'm going to the photocopy shop just to turn things
yeah.
from pencil to blue. You know.
Yeah.
So,
You
You
need
go into that Photoshop.
definitely need some software. Yeah. But what I was doing, you know, the thing is, I'm going through a lot of crap right now, and we got some stuff in the family that we have to deal with. And I was just like, you know, I was, you know, I literally was working on stuff that I have to get done for other people, and an entire glass bottle of Winsor Newton ink spilled on the Pergo fake wood floor.
Oh, shit.
That was like the crescendo of a week of high stress, you know, including physical body health, alarm bell stuff that's going off right now too. So like this entire bottle's on the floor, and I had to go at it with bleach and a scrubber and keep it from getting into the grain and not stain the floor. And I basically like took some objects and I hurled them across the room, and I was just in a rage out. And I was just like, okay, fuck all this shit. And I just drew this. So it is a cartoon.
well, very expressive.
Yeah.
And
it definitely gets the point across.
Thanks. So yeah, but also I realized, like, oh, there's some interesting line work in here, and because my stuff runs more ragged, and there's a lot of accidental stuff that happens with my inks rather than a controlled process. I also didn't pencil anything. I just drew this, so it's also kind of weird. But and then I scanned it in and used the brushes that were tone brushes to just throw in some stuff that looked like old Zipatone or craft tin paper, you know. And that was
I think it works good. It's not my genre, so it's kind of difficult for me because I find it jarring.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
but I like it.
I think that would be healthy, Gene.
Okay.
Well, I was the one made me laugh out loud at it was the fact that you put the F-bomb in the mouth, but you did fake swearing on the bubble.
Yeah. That's all like instinct stuff, and it just is. It's almost more for design than it is for, you know.
You know what I like about that is that the middle finger is the symbol for "fuck you," and the words are the symbols for swearing as well. So the symbols have symbols of their symbols.
It's a deep
My
shit.
brain hurts.
My brain. Ow, my brain.
Ow! My brain.
I love it. I like Greg's style anyway. So.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I like your style anyway. So.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you. There's another. I'm actually sharing my desktop here, so just bear with me. Oh, I think I showed this thing to you guys last time. Hold on a second. This was another messing around again with. I think I showed you guys this stuff last week, though. So that's probably.
I wasn't here last week, but
Yeah, it was again no pencils, just drawing and ink, and then messing around with some tone brushes and some other digital effects brushes like this watercolor and ink brush. This dry brush stuff is all digital.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, this is again that same guy, Alex Ducal. His stuff's all really, really. It's like it's impeccable looking stuff. He's really, really good with it.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah. I have been penciling holiday pages for issue 2. Just started with doing that, and getting other things done, like go to bed, so that I have more time for myself. And that's kind of where I'm going. Is like I have to cut back what I'm doing in all kinds of ways, because in December, for instance, there's a person in the family who's having major surgery, and I have to be there to help her out. And in between now and then, my health has been kind of skidding around. So I have some very, very, very important life choices I got to make in terms of a final push to getting healthy, and that's gonna basically knock me out of time and energy for other stuff. You know.
Well, you can't do it if you're dead, so get on it.
Well, that's the whole thing. So
Very good point.
I'm a little blunt sometimes.
No. I mean, I am too, and I appreciate that because I'm the same way. Yeah. So this is the thing. It's like
The amount of stuff you can do drastically decreases when you die.
yeah.
I really think that should be a bumper sticker.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. You know, it's really. So this is this. You know, like so I've had to do a lot of soul searching this week, and kind of been denying it and putting it off for a while, and yeah, there's no way around it. So you know what that means in terms of Vermont Comic Creators Group, or how that's got to, you know, how Mike and I need extra assistance. And, you know, I've already decided I'm not taking any paid gigs probably for a really long time, until I'm in a position where I can find somebody to project manage me and fit those things in, because my personal work is just not there. And the money from the paid work is not very much. You know, it's not like working a job or something like that.
Working a job ain't much either.
Right. So, you know, so it's sort of like, okay, well, you know, here are these different commissions or something like that, but they don't amount to much real money, and they steal tremendous amounts of time away from getting my own books done or any of my own project stuff done.
Right.
And then practically with the group stuff, it's hard because it's a lot of it's a different stress and energy. So, you know, for our group, we're going to have to start figuring out how to pull other members into working the group and keeping it running. And then, but for me, it's like, I think it's not like dropping off the face of the earth, but I am going to have so much to do with physical therapy, weight loss, you know, just a bunch of that stuff, that, you know, and then, like I said, family people that in the short term I'm going to have to be there for.
Do it. We'll be here when you get back. Don't you worry about it.
I wouldn't be gone. I'll be still posting, and I'd still be like, you know, and Mike will be around too, of course, but he's got his own thing. He's got eye surgery coming up, and, you know, he's got a family. So anyways, but those are some things we could talk about on another thing.
Yeah.
Real soon. But yeah, so that's going on. But, you know, like one of the things is this is where I understand where Barney brought up, hadn't drawn in such a long time. I haven't really sat down and drawn other than like something that I was trying to make a quick buck from somebody forever. So finally did these two things. And, you know, that was one of the things that was really clear was just to what degree, I wanted to tell everybody to go fuck themselves. No, but I hadn't drawn it well, because like the other thing was on this meta level that, you know, when, you know, they say like everything's the mirror, you know, like your dreams are all you, all the characters are you, whatever, you know, it's all you. And I was also telling myself to go fuck off, because like stuff's not working. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off. Like screw you, man. Like, it's not working. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like the tenant that rents the apartment inside your head's like saying, hey, look, like, this isn't working, man. So like, that's where I'm at, is just like figuring out, I gotta really do some real, health and personal work in order to be able to continue to be here alive and reasonably productive, Yeah.
So
Good. Do
I
it.
support that.
Yeah.
And what I would say, Greg, is to, you and Mike to sit down, because you guys have the stuff, and say, all right, what do we need to hand over to somebody, and say, hey, this is what I need you to do, this and this and this, and then
that's what we're going to approach members like yourselves about.
Yeah. I guarantee you're going to have people who are going to jump up and help out.
You're definitely one of them, and I know that, Jesse, you've said that there are some things that you have time for. I know you have a very brutal schedule, so I would never approach too much or ask for too much.
Yeah.
And Gene, same thing, because you have a family, and
Well, I'm on 6-day work week right now.
Yeah. So, but we are going to be approaching members about taking on some stuff. Yeah,
January.
Because we all learn this thing. So
I feel like it would be January for me as well, actually, because it's funny because, as of right now, I could definitely make time to do stuff, but actually probably not, because I'm going to start doing Inktober stuff. But I'm gonna start working nights in November all the way up to January, because
you're at a retail store. You're at a store that deals with Christmas.
I have volunteered to be paid extra to work nights until January, so that I don't have to go. I don't have to go anywhere near customers. All I have.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm going to lose weight too, because all I'm going to be doing is hauling boxes for like 8 hours for 40 hours a week. So,
but the other benefit, of course, is more money in the bank account, right? For the
yes. I mean,
so that's
being completely honest, the number one reason is I just didn't want to deal with customers or holiday traffic, because I actually want to give a shit about Christmas this year. Like, I want to not hate it. So.
Yeah.
But the only thing is that I get so much of my drawing done at my table at work that I'm going to have to reschedule myself in terms of when I can work, which is why I'm trying to get as much of a buffer. I have until like the second week of November worth of comics right now, but I'm trying to get even more done so that I can relax a little bit more during the holidays and not have to worry about drawing as much. So
Right.
Way to do it, man. Way to do it. That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. So it sounds like everybody here has made jumps, and everybody here is doing some pretty interesting things. I wish Jak and Nate Zsido and a few of the other members. I know Sarah was thinking about coming by, but I guess she wasn't able to. But there's always for a future show.
I saw Jak was watching.
Oh, that's good. I'm not on. I don't actually have the YouTube page open. So if he said, if he's saying,
he said something about something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh God.
That's all Instagram is hashtags. That's what he wrote. I think that was like an hour or so ago.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before we adjourn, real quick here. An adjustment, because after y'all tell me what needs to be fixed, I tend to jump right in. So,
oh right, of course.
Screen share, application window. There we go. I don't know if I need to make it smaller or what, but that. Adjust the size of the panels on the top and
that's
made the characters.
It's just better. I like that better.
So I have
okay to not see the top of the monolith in that fourth panel.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would suggest making the monolith taller in the second panel too, so that it goes up off the page.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it really is bigger than life kind of a thing.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is, oh no, but because of the tone and stuff, never mind. Because the panel 3, it'll be clear what's going on, because the surfaces will be toned appropriately, so it'll look like more three-dimensional.
What's that? What's the double line? Sorry, what's the double line in panel 3?
Well, that is the facing edge of the monolith there in front of it, and we're seeing just a little bit of it, and that field to its left would be the rest of the back surface, right?
So maybe if you saw the bottom edge of that, like the angled edge,
where it's resting on the ground. I mean,
yeah, then it wouldn't look so much like just a bar or a gutter or whatever you call them.
But then you would actually it would screw up the perspective of it, and I think because the part that's facing us is going to be darker than the edge.
Sure, it'll have it'll have a texture and stuff, yeah.
And we'll know what it is, right? Because I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once
I think you've done a good job.
Yeah, once there's tone and stuff in there, it'll definitely look more like wherever the hell it is.
Yeah. All right, guys, I gotta hit the.
Yeah. Sheets. I second that one.
Thanks, Barney.
Jesse is looking good. Keep it up.
Thanks, Gene. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah. And Barney, your stuff is great too, man.
Oh,
Can't wait to see more of that.
And Gene,
I'm really loving that stuff.
Yeah, and Gene, I'm really looking forward to seeing more inks from you.
Okay, you'll see him as soon as I get him done.
Yeah.
I get maybe half an hour a night.
I found some stuff, so I'll try to put it somewhere and send you a link so you can download some stuff.
Okay, I've got a few pages right now that I've got like 4 or 5 that I'm doing.
Okay.
All right, but yeah, send away.
And Greg, go ahead, and if you want to reach out offline about things that you need, let me know.
Are you around? Maybe I don't know. Tomorrow night's not going to work, but would you be around during like Sunday night or something, or Monday?
Sunday night's my game night.
What about Monday?
Sure.
Monday I could be around. And also, I'm around. I'm working from home tomorrow and Friday, so if you
okay,
just pop in. I'm going to be on the computer. So
okay, during the day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Hey, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Dog.
So I'm just going to do this incredibly lame thing, and
I'm still here if you needed anything.
Get it? Oh, if I need anything.
Like, did you have anything else you wanted to chat about real quick, or are you good for now?
Oh, I could, I guess. I mean, it's really just the same stuff, I guess I could rehash that a little bit.
I guess that's the case.
It's a balancing thing, and it's like the last 2 years from the time that Mike and I started the group to now. There's just been a lot of things that have happened. There's also been a lot of where I couldn't bring something all the way home. Mike, is just busy with his kids and stuff. But even with anything that I guess you could sort of label a failure, I think that in general, the job that we've all done being a group and growing over 2 years or more, a little more than 2 years, has been really, really cool, and it's been really interesting. And whether it's personal or it's work stuff or it's events that we've done or events that we've been part of, I think that we've done a lot of good for each other. Now, so I think I think about that stuff and I don't want to detach, but it's the case that if I don't take care of the health problems that I have in an aggressive way in a final sort of, rest of the way down the field, then things are going to get really rough in the next year or so. Like I can tell because of some stuff that happened to me this week. So it's like, okay, like there's no way I can put it off anymore.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and it's just like when you have fibromyalgia, when you have weight, when you have all these different issues going on, you know, your day, you've only got like so much energy batteries left and then you're done. So if I go into 3 days a week phys therapy and other stuff that has to be done, you know, my energy is going to be cooked. So that means the ability to do stuff is less, and then if I'm going to focus on my stuff once you know, family and other commitments are more eased up, you know, I mean, like I know that there's a limit. So yeah, it's figuring out how to let go of some things and how to figure out how to maybe if we can, you know, delegate a little bit, and then ultimately. You know, I get out of the weeds, and then I can be more aggressive in the way that I'm engaging.
Yeah, and I mean, I would definitely. I mean, I don't think I could shoulder nearly as much responsibility as you guys have had over the last few years, but I'm definitely willing to be able to help with certain things for sure.
Yeah. And to each in their own way as they can do it. You know, that's sort of, I believe in that very strongly. It just would be good if we had a few people to take a little bit of it, you know, and maybe certain things might not go so sideways if there was a little more of that push.
Yeah.
But either way, I know that, you know, like whether it's vascular issues or other things that I have to deal with, if I'm not a lot lighter, a lot healthier, a lot more physically therapied, you know, a bunch of things better.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough, and some things could go. You know, it could be easy to crash, and I don't want to. I can't have that happen. So, and plus, I got a family now, so I got to think about those things too. So,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, the other kind of family, not just the comics family, but other families.
Oh no, I understand.
Yeah. But anyway,
I know what you mean.
yeah. So that's the thing. It's like so I have to take a page from all of you guys' books and learn how to not just balance things, but be okay with doing that. You know, because one of the things that happens for me is that I get very focused and very fixated, and my ego and my self-worth gets wrapped up in whether these accomplishments over here are done or not done, and then that derails me when it can't happen because, of course, you know, I have a prevailing thing, which is the health, you know, which is other things.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of like, you know, and now we're in it. We're a thing. We're an organization, and we look after each other, and we benefit from each other. I can't just say like hit the time stop button and just go like, okay, I'm just going to stop this and do this, and then I'll crank it back up, and then everybody starts moving again. You know, like the magic gold watch or something. Like you can't do that. So I don't want things to unravel. You know,
Sure.
And that's because that would be, you know, that'd be very painful to see if something like that happened. Because it's not just a Facebook group where people just like, you know, like yammer at each other all day. There's a lot of stuff
Right.
going on with this thing, and you know, I don't want that to go sideways. So.
No, that definitely would not be good.
Did we lose Barney? Barney must have. Did Barney? Yeah, Barney left.
Yeah, Barney and Gene left at the same time.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, so I'll talk to him, and yeah. But anyway, whatever. But this is like what the only thing that is the only thing I keep reorienting with is that this is also what it takes to be an artist. This is also what happens when you're an artist. This is also the life of it, because it's not just like where you just go to work and you do your job and you come home and then you recreate and you have fun with your people and then you go to bed, and life's simpler that way. When you're doing this other stuff and you're trying to achieve, but also support either yourself or, in my case, I have disability, but whatever permutation it is, there are many more balls to juggle, and this is just how it is. You know, it's like it's just, this is it. This is exactly it. Even the painful parts are, this is it. So
yeah, and I mean there are definitely, I mean, like it is important obviously to make sure that your creative stuff doesn't go by the wayside, but it's also very important to consider your health, physically, mentally, the whole 9 yards. I know a couple of years ago, I made a very, I mean, I've been doing it for a while, but I made a very big push a couple of years ago to, was like very, very obese, and it was not good at all. So I made that push, and then as I got physically healthier, I started paying more attention to the mental health stuff. And only like last year, after a friend of mine that was a little, well, was 1 year older than I was, passed away, I had a lot of mental stuff I had to deal with too. So that was also difficult. But you know, it's all a process, and you know, improving something on one end greatly improves other things. I mean, I know for me, being more mentally healthy has made the comic much better, I think, as well because of it. So,
oh, for sure,
there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I would think that the accomplishment of that. That's why I really envy all you guys that are productive, because it is. You know, that is exactly how it should be, and the benefits that you receive from that regular accomplishment are measurable, and they always tend to work that way. You know, and it's like I'm on groups. I'm sure you are too. I have people that I mentor a little bit, you know, outside of our thing or inside too. But you know, it's always like, well, how do I get this done? Or I don't have inspiration, or it's the creative thing, or the, you know, like my productivity is this or that. And it's like, you know, in the end, it is the job to be productive, and it is the job to make up ideas, and it's the job to commit to that schedule. And that's why not everybody's going to be an artist, right, all the time.
Yeah.
And now, of course, in my case, I mean, there's some other things that are factoring in. It's health problems and stuff like that. It's family stress or whatever. But I mean, like, you know, so I feel like I got a little bit of a pass. But in the end, if I don't deal with those issues right there, you know, if I don't deal with the health and stuff, there is never going to be a point where I can ascend over that plateau and then move forward, right? Because I'll always be backing down with the burden. You know, the burden gets in the way, and then it doesn't matter what kind of ideas you have or intent, it just won't happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that's really, I think one of the hardest things is to get started on that road and, you know, just keep going at it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's and so obviously it has to be to that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do less. I'm going to have to do more of this, because I want to be able to do the other two things more later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And for now, I guess I think I will say goodnight, because I got to get going on my walk. Speaking of health and stuff.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for listening to my crazy, stupid stuff.
No, not at all. It's very important, and I want to help in any way that I can. It's going to be a little more difficult, and I admit that. But you know, if you give me some, if we disperse certain tasks, if I'm responsible for a very specific thing, I will be very inclined to make sure that I do the thing. So
sure. Yeah, that'd be great. So hopefully this will work out. This is one of those things, though, which is C4 Comic Art Critique, Vermont Comic Creators. You know, these are the things that we've built that allow us to actually have the ability to even reach out and to ask for things. And anybody who's watching this, if you don't have a group, try to find some people and network with them and build those relationships, because that's the other major thing, other than you just got to do it, is you also need to build those relationships with peers so that you can energize from that, and it can propel you, and it can help you sometimes when you're in a more serious or hardship area as an artist. So so thanks, Jesse, for being here, and thanks to Barney and to Gene for also sharing their work, and for all the great critique tonight. Tonight was a very good night of show, and really, really good critique from everybody. I'm really looking forward to keeping that momentum up next time too.
Yeah, and thank you, Greg. I feel very good about this this one piece now. Like all my issues seem to be clear and better, so I can
I think you can. Yeah, you're
much more comfortably push forward with it.
Yeah, it keeps getting better, and it's a result of the work and the dedication, and that's the case for all of you. But certainly that's what's been happening with your strip as well. So speaking of which, you can read Jesse Durona's comics, including the newest one that he's been working on for his new ongoing thing. Why don't you tell the title again, because I always screw it up.
I really should. I kind of regret the title now, just because it's so complicated. But it's Dr. Professor Snugglebottom's Horrifying Housemates, but I've taken to calling it Dr. P's Housemates.
Sure. I don't think you'll ever be able to get rid of the full title, and that can be read at jessedurona.com, or you can also read it on his Facebook page, which is in the show notes below. My name is Greg Giordano, and I'm at flameape.org, and flameape, the art of blah, 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 blah. And you can find any of our other members' work either in their Facebook pages or like Barney Smith, storycomic.com, and I think he also has a Facebook of Storycomic as well. So,
does Jean have any links?
I don't believe we got a space yet for her art, but we'll see if we can help her out with that.
Yeah, that would be great. I think that would be a very good thing to do.
Vermont Comic Creators is an organization dedicated to representing now over 160 cartoonists and comic artists and graphic novelists and sequential artists of all kinds on a 2D sort of space in the state of Vermont. We are free to join. If you live here in Vermont, you're making comics, you're starting to dip your toe in, you're a professional, you're an indie creator, you should join up. It's a really great private group. Vermont Comic Creators also has a public Facebook page, which is Vermont Comic Creators, and we publish info about members and what they're doing and events and other things that are going on in the state that are comics related. You can make comics, and as you can see here, a lot of really good comics. So thanks a lot for watching the C4 Comic Art Critique from Vermont Comic Creators. This is Jesse Durona and Greg Giordano signing off.
Bye.
Bye.